We Black Americans do not owe anyone a damn thing, especially any individual or any group or any organization that is anti-Black and racist. For example, the Somali situation. They came out last year and boldly lent their support and advocacy to the felon-in-chief. They ignored Black Americans because of their anti-Blackness. Now they are dealing with the consequences of their vote. As well they should. It's time for these folks to be big boys and big girls and take their medicine. Now all of a sudden they are Black, when just a year ago they stated that they were Somalis. They weren't Black American. They were Somalis, they were Muslim, and they were Arabs. Because see, like many other POC groups who immigrate over here, they believe that they are superior to us, and they have bought into all of the white supremacist lies and talking points about the Black American community. And they have not only bought into those lies, but they continue to teach and spread those lies within their own communities. Black Americans, we have really seen that within the past year, ever since the presidential election. We do not owe anybody or anyone our forgiveness, our grace, our empathy, or our compassion. For me personally, I have none for them. It is not Black Americans' fault that we are standing alone. Should we be unified with especially other members of the diaspora? Yes. But I choose to live in reality, and we are not. And again, it is not Black Americans' fault. We are the one group in the United States of America that have had to fight to have our humanity recognized, and then to fight for the rights that we deserve. And because of our struggle and our sacrifice, many of these immigrant groups, including members of the diaspora, have come over here after the main struggle was ended and the Civil Rights Act was passed, and have enjoyed the fruits of our labor, starting businesses, going to school, when they become eligible, voting and participating in the democratic process, and taking other opportunities, again made possible by Black American fight for justice and equity and equality. But turning around and then looking down on us and spewing white supremacist lies. And we all know what they are. They advocated specifically the Somalis for the felon-in-chief last year, and they did indeed vote for him and helped to put his regime in power, and now they are dealing with those consequences. And now all of a sudden they want to be Black. We're all Black. No, the hell we are not. These white leftists and progressives, I have always said that they are the same brand of ice cream as MAGA and Republicans. They're just a different flavor. And boy, have they been showing their asses ever since Jasmine Crockett announced she's running for Senate. The woman is already in Congress. Think about that. She is just running to switch houses. She will not get an increase in pay, but she believes, and I believe it too, that she will be more effective in the Senate. And these folks have come out the woodwork with all of their bullshit, the same routine that they pulled on Kamala Harris last year. But we see you all. All of you all are motivated by two things: your racism and your misogyny. Black Americans, the only thing that we have to do and need to do is to continue to be Black American, and then when it is time, die. That's it. We don't owe these people our support. We don't owe them our advocacy that they seem to think that they're entitled to, despite their racism and anti-Blackness. Even those of us within our own community who sided with white supremacy, all of them can take a first-class express ticket straight to the pit of hell. Black Americans, we stand alone, but that's okay because y'all, we are enough. Keep that in mind and be careful out here.
Greetings, my family. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for your support. So Black Americans are saying enough is enough. Enough of the disrespect, enough of being used as a safety net while being treated as disposable. Immigrants come to the United States, aligned to whiteness, distance themselves from Black Americans, and vote against their own interest until expect Black Americans to stand up, defend, and save them. Well, things fall apart, but today Black Americans are saying we are done sacrificing ourselves for people who refuse to stand with us. So let's get to see the reactions, then we come back with more commentary. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing so you never miss any update from my videos, all right? Let's dive into it.
Don't let them divide us. We have no allies. I am only voting for foundational Black Americans. These are some comments that were put on a recent video that I did about Somali leaders and their F around and find out. And I think that some of these comments are put there in good faith, but I also think that I feel like I have a different perspective. This video is going to be geared more toward the Black community and the mindset that we sometimes have to wrestle with between being understanding and accepting and not taking any more crap. It is a delicate line that we have always had to play because our feelings and our passion is always viewed as victimhood or aggression, leading to them being able to speak about the reaction rather than the cause. So I want to address some of these comments and give my own candid perspective. Starting with don't let them divide us. Some people may think that calling other communities out on their BS is letting the racists and the bigots divide us. But the thing is, we're already divided, which is why we're calling them out on their BS. Just because you don't acknowledge something doesn't mean it's not already happening. The divide was already there, especially when you're talking about a community like the Somali community, who many of whom in the United States don't view themselves as a part of the Black community. Not all, but many, and enough to be able to make an impact. Colorism and white supremacy also goes throughout the other communities as well, the Hispanic community as well as the Black community. And I think that everybody who is guilty of that needs to be called out in kind. As much as they are trying to erase history, the Black community will never forget our contributions to this country and the people of color that live here and thrive here more than we do because of our contributions. Everyone loves to emulate our culture, our manners of speaking, our music, our dance, our food. But that's where the buck stops. In many cases, while emulating our culture, they denounce our people. And Black people are just not going to continue taking that amount of disrespect. We have given too much and have tried so hard to not only be accepting, but to make sure that not only do we have rights, but everyone else as well. We are the demographic that votes for the good of everyone, even for the good of people who don't like or respect us. And calling people out on their BS does not divide us because the division was already there and those things need to be called out.
I'm gonna tell you like my grandma told me, it's because we like ourselves. It's because we like ourselves. They cannot do anything to us to take away our joy. They can't do anything to us to take away our confidence. They can't do anything to us that makes us feel like we're not going to make it through. We know we're going to make it through because our ancestors did. Anything that you could do to a group of people have been done to us. And because we know that, because we know our ancestors survived much worse, we know that we can. They sang during the worst of times, so we can sing now. They laughed during that, we can laugh now. We like ourselves. And that's, if other groups of people, if they had to go through what we go through, they would not make it. And they know that. So they don't understand why we do. They don't understand how we can still laugh through all of this pain and turmoil. All the jokes that we made about how every day the world's falling apart and here we are skating and double dutch and playing spades and line dancing and having a good time. They don't understand how that's happening. You see the farmers out there in Kentucky or Nebraska, wherever, they are having a horrible time and their suicide rates are 3 times the national average right now because they can't take it. They cannot take what we can take. Not only can we take it, not only can we endure, we can also be happy while we're doing it. We can find joy while we're doing it. That's why Black people always will be like, we don't take anything seriously, or we make a joke out of everything. In every situation, we make a joke because we know how to have joy. We figured out that life is about having fun. And people will look at that and they hate it. They hate it. They say that we're lazy. They say that we are, uneducated and stupid and everything, childish, immature. But the truth is they are jealous. They're jealous because if what had happened to us happened to them, they would not be as happy as we are. They would not have figured out a way to still have joy. And they hate us for it. They hate us that they cannot do anything to us to rob us of that joy. And you know why? It's because they didn't give it to us. So they can't take it away.
Black Americans do have the right to say that we're minding our own business. Black Americans have done enough. Okay? Black Americans don't have to be the voice for every single group and every other person. And Black Americans are allowed to be tired, to be like, you know what? Y'all figure it out. We told y'all what to do. You didn't want to listen, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. And another thing, when it comes to other people using the N-word, this is why I say that there is no black and brown. I'm just going to be honest. There is no such thing as black and brown as a collective, because you have people like this. And I don't understand why a lot of them feel so comfortable using this word. We are not the same people. We are not the same people. And that's a black man, whether you like what he's doing, which is his job, whether you like that he's doing his job, he's doing his job. And you're saying, oh, I'll spit in your food and I'll do this to you and blah. And then you using the N-word, bro. This what I be talking about. So like, nah, bro. Ain't no such thing as a collective. Ain't no such thing as black and brown. And honestly, we know how a lot of people feel about us as black folks anyway. So again, if we say we're opting out and we don't want to speak on what's going on, we don't have to. Because one thing I know is when something happens to black folks, where y'all gonna be? Are y'all gonna lift y'all voices up? No, you're not. As a collective, no, you're not. You're not. Because historically, you never did.
The sooner black people realize that nobody is their friend, the sooner the revolution and the healing can begin. The Democratic Party ain't your friend. The Republican Party ain't your friend. Other black people in the diaspora ain't your friend. Other races ain't your friend. Natives ain't your friend. The other letters in DEI ain't your friend. It's a one-sided relationship. You only benefit them. When it's time for them to show their friendship towards you, it ain't never show up. And as soon as black people realize that nobody is their friend, the sooner the revolution and the evolution can begin. It starts with self-love, value, and then having other people actually value you too, because you are the person that brings the value to these relationships. But until that is realized, the true worth of black Americans will never be actualized.
You see, many immigrants, when they arrive in the United States, they are being taught to distance themselves from black Americans if you want to succeed. They are being fed lies by the media, institutions, schools, employers, that black Americans, they are very dangerous, they are lazy, uneducated, or even the reason the system is broken. And instead of questioning those lies, many immigrants absorb it, internalize it, and build their identity around being not black, They chase proximity to whiteness. They chase approval from the very system that profits from division. And they convince themselves that aligning against black Americans would protect them. And for a while, it feels like it works. They get conditional acceptance. They get praise for being model minority, and being told you are not like them. But what they don't realize is that whiteness is not protection. It is temporary permission. And this is what black Americans have been warning them for years. They warn about voting for policies that target black Americans because eventually they are going to turn around and affect everybody else. But those warnings, they are usually dismissed, Black Americans are being told that they are too sensitive, they are stuck in the past, and they are being told to move on, But when the system turns its teeth on immigrant communities, suddenly there is confusion and panic, and there is rush to Black Americans asking for solidarity, protection, and activism. So Black Americans are saying, where were you when we needed you? Where were you when Black Americans were fighting police violence alone? Solidarity does not mean Black Americans are expected to save everyone while being treated as disposable. And solidarity does not mean showing up only when it's convenient or when the fire reaches your home. Black Americans build the civil rights infrastructure that many communities enjoy today. Our voting rights, labor protection, anti-discrimination laws. Those gains, they are being paid for by Black blood, Black lives, Their ancestors, they bled so that people could enjoy those freedoms today. And yet many immigrants, they vote against those protections that made their success possible. So Black Americans are saying they are now choosing self-preservation and choosing community protection over performative unity. And that choice is not hatred, it is survival. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.